Chasing the Racing, powered by Colchester Kawasaki, part of the Global Moto Group. We supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing. So to my right is the gorgeous yet unsensible Joe Ackroyd. How are we doing, son?
Thanks, Dom. Yeah,
fantastic.
Lovely.
And we are joined, and our first revisit of the pod, so the pressure's on, lads. You know what I mean? We've been dealing with nothing but rock stars up till this point, so it's time to break the ice anyway. So we've got Tom NEAVE.
Oh, not
again.
You've got us Verkos. My suit's turned up and it's got Tom NEAVE on the tag. No, I'm not even joking. Both sponsored by Verkos Levers. Turns up, fucking Tom NEAVE on it. You're not happy.
So that's how you push Tim's buttons right there. So we have Tim NEAVE and Jason O'Halloran. How we doing, lads? How are you feeling after that?
I'm all good. After what? Been insulted?
Indeed.
I've had a lifetime of it, so I'm used to it. It's just one of them things in it now.
Good man. I tell you what, going back in time here, you, on my notes that Grace has kindly looked up, when we did the Tom and Tim episode, that was episode 63.
Was it really?
And would you like to have a guess when you were last on, Jason?
I was 2021, I think, towards the start of the season, maybe after the first couple of rounds.
It was, yeah.
So I'm not sure what number it would have been, but at the start of the year, I think.
110.
Oh, wow.
What are we at now?
I tell you what, the mark, like, obviously, Chrissy still does the intros of 3, 2, 1, and then, like, because I'm not very good at counting, Grace actually puts the number in. So, and lucky for all our listeners watching and everything like that, we have Grace in the corner. So, what number are we on?
183.
Oh,
183.
Wow.
A lot has happened since then. A lot has happened, and like I said, it's mad since 21, really, and I'm trying to, like, can you lads paint a picture for me? What the hell happened in 21 again? I can't remember how to get here. Never mind what happened in 21.
2021 for me was mega year, except for the end. So yeah, it was all right. But yeah, that's 2 years ago now, isn't it?
That's terrifying.
From now, it's nearly 2 years ago, isn't it? Can't believe it.
You know what scares me is I was speaking to is it Tony out there? Is it Tony? Yeah. You signed for McCarm's Yamaha 5 years ago.
Yeah, end of 2000. I can't believe it, to be honest. End of 2018, I moved from Honda to Yamaha. And now we're start of 2023. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It only feels like, yes, like we were in Spain a couple of weeks ago at Almeria, and that was the first time I rode the Yamaha at the end of 2018, first time I joined these guys. And you can't believe it's 5 years ago. Where's the time gone?
It's a testament to the team, though, eh?
Oh, it's incredible.
Still be at 5 years on.
I've been really fortunate in my career that in superbikes, I've been with Honda for a long period and now Yamaha for a long period. So, once you start working with guys, it's awesome to stay with them for years, and I'm mates with all of them now. So it's good crack. It's good.
Perfect for a race weekend.
Yeah, it's mega.
You're in a happy place.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you won the British Superstock. Oh, wait, no, that was your brother.
That was my brother. I gave it a
Feel
good
free
go.
to hit us. Feel free to hit us.
I was having a good go at it, but I didn't quite get it together. But I'm sure we'll get into that in a bit.
That was 22. Wasn't it?
That was last year, yeah.
So before we go into the nitty gritty of that, can you talk us what you were doing through 21?
I was on a Suzuki, build-based Suzuki in stock 1000.
Shit the bed.
Yeah, I actually got my first wild card in Superbikes. Was that 21? Yeah, it was, yeah. So I'd missed a round with injury and knackered that championship up. Danny Kent had got bust up, broke his leg. There was a Superbike sitting there, so they asked me if I wanted to ride it at Cadwell for a wild card. So obviously didn't turn that down, and that was my first taste of Superbikes.
Well, how did you get on in that race? You went
15th, 11th, 15th. But, I mean, they didn't tell me. I rocked up on Thursday, and team boss Steve pulled me over to the side and said, do you fancy riding Superbike this week? And I was like, I've never ridden on slicks. Do you know what I mean? I was not prepared. I'd just come back.
The Thursday of race weekend?
Yeah.
So they didn't even ring you on a Monday and say, do you fancy this week?
I went down the hill to the garages where everyone was unpacking on setup day, and they were like, do you want to have a ride? Because they do Cadwell, they do a Thursday night practice, which is a new thing. He's like, do you want to ride on it tonight? And if it goes all right, you can race it. So I was like, yeah, of course I do. But I just wasn't prepared. And I'd just come back from an injury myself. So it was a bit of a whirlwind, but a hell of an experience. So that was my first taste of Superbike.
And you scored points.
Yeah.
And you just sitting there like that guy. 15 for 11, getting missable git.
Free practice one. I was like slower than my lap time on the stocker, and I was thinking, oh god, like what am I doing? I'm going to show myself up. Like proper got my head down. I was like struggling a bit with it, and then went back out in FP2 and found like a second and a half, and then just got going then. So hopefully we'll be doing a better job this year. But it was for a first taste of superbikes, it was about where I thought it should be really.
To be fair as well, to like Cadwell Park, straight onto a superbike. It's not the easiest place to go to, is it that? I know it's not just on your doorstep, but it's still not the easiest place for you to swing your leg over and
done a few laps around there, but there's a lot going on. It's all very busy, and like first ever going superbikes is always daunting, especially as like when it's all new to you. So it was there's a lot to take in, but no, we stayed on it, which is one thing. So
you still local to Cadwell?
Yeah, I'm not far. Yeah, maybe 25 minutes away, just south of Lincoln. I am now. So I used to live at Market Raisin for a long time, which is not far from Tim. And then I moved from there 2016, just a little bit further south. So yeah, it's good.
I was going to ask this later on, but when's the first time you met? Make it sound like a couple dating here. So when did you get together? Matching clothes already?
To be honest, when last year maybe?
I think it would be when we went to practicing in Spain at the start of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it would have been around the start of last year, end of the year before, something like that.
You'd have come across Tom when it was Tom got the Honda wildcard in 2018 when you were there. That's right, He had to borrow some of your leathers, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So
kept him in one piece, that was all right.
I don't know if he did, to be honest.
Did he not? I can't remember.
His first, he'll love me for saying this, but his first wildcard was, I think it was Thruxton on the Honda, and he ripped 3 bikes off on Sunday.
Amazing.
And then he got his second go. His second go was when he had to borrow your levers, I think at Cadwell, and he did stay on it. He had to stay on it, and he did.
How did that conversation go about? Like, look, I've just wrecked my suits.
Yeah, I've got another spare set. Yeah, so I had plenty of suits at the time because to be fair, I was lucky. But I'd been with Honda for a few years, so I had a few years worth of stock, shall we say?
Even going back to that 5-year question, did you see did you see yourself sticking here for that long?
With Yamaha, or
in the first year?
To be honest, it's so hard to look that far ahead, isn't it? You don't think, it's like when we sit here and talk now, and you think 5 years from now, you think, oh, it's ages away, but it'll be blink of an eye and you're there. So I knew from the first time that I rode the Yamaha that I was on something good. I knew getting off I obviously rode the old model blade for a long time. I never got to ride the new model blade, so my thought of Honda's only the old model. But when I jumped off that bike at the time, we'd been struggling for a few years, not being competitive because we were always on the podium or 5th, 6th place. But compared to the others, we were starting to struggle because the bike was getting quite old. And then when I got on the Yamaha, it was like, it was exactly what I needed. And unfortunately, the first year in 19, I got hurt I hurt my shoulder. Struggled through the year, but hurt my shoulder. And then the next 3 years have been mega. So yeah, it's whirlwinds been the best part of my career. I've won a lot of races, and I've been at the front ever since I've been on the Yamaha, really. So it's been mega.
Any big changes with the Yamaha this year? Because to set the scene, we're inside of a building down at McCams. We've been invited down from the McCams team launch that is happening tonight, and I think this is the first time you lads have taken a breath all day because you've been in and out of levers, swapping everything. The bikes look absolutely class. Is there anything... Now, this isn't getting released tomorrow, so you can dish out all the dirty secrets now. Is anything different with the bikes?
To be honest, on the bikes here today, it's just a new colour scheme, some new sponsors and stuff like that. From last year, the bikes are pretty much the same as what they were. We've got some test items for the testing. We've got a swing arm, we've got a few other bits and pieces, engine spec, tanks, little bits and pieces that you can test, but nothing that if you had to go with what you got now, it wouldn't be an issue. You know what I mean? We're lucky enough we've got a good package. It's the best bike on the grid in it, so it's ready to rock and roll.
So going from your 21 season, in your own words, it started off mega and then ended up we're painting the scene. It was just up to the showdown, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is that a fair
in the season I scored the most points. I had the most points. I sound like a broken record, but I had the most points. I won the most races, I had the most podiums, most poles, most any list of most, I was first except for the championship. So it was a pretty hard pill to swallow, to be honest. But it's just the way the point system works in it.
If it was a traditional championship, would you have tied it up?
Yeah, I would have been a round or two early. So, and like going to the first round of the showdown, I was 100 and whatever points ahead of second place. So the mentality would have been different, you know what I mean? As in the way I rode or the way the competitors rode. It would have been a different scenario, but it's not BSP, is it? It's
do you have an opinion on the showdown?
Only because of my personal circumstances in it. You know what I mean? As in, if I'm sat here and I'm someone that's won from it, I'd be saying, mate, you'd be peaking, wouldn't you? It's only because you've lost from it that you don't like it. And I think it's had its place. You know what I mean? Like BSB is exciting. We've got a good following. You know, I don't sell it. It's the best championship around the world, isn't it? Outside of MotoGP, it's the best thing to watch. And part of that, you'd have to say, is down to the excitement of having the showdown the last few years. So
it's just bullshit when it's done to you.
Yeah, exactly. My only grievance with the showdown is that when you feel like you should win and you don't, that's a really hard, mentally and physically, that's a hard thing to deal with. That, as in, the end of 21 was much harder for me to deal with than the end of 22. As in, the end of 22, I got taken out of the championship by being taken out in races, but Brad was already ahead of me in he already had a better season than me with points and stuff like that. So I just accept it. So he deserved to win the title anyway. Not saying that Taz didn't deserve to win it, because he did. He had a mega year in 21 as well. But much harder to deal with the circumstances when you feel like you should win, but you don't.
Yeah.
Was there was there any major changes in yourself from 21 to 22? Because like you say, you just told us how difficult. I can only imagine how difficult that was to someone going, "Well done, son." But you're not having it. You know what I mean?
The thing is, the bike racing job is 99% psychological.
Yeah, 100%. And like for 22, I changed. I think the hardest thing for me to accept in 22 was the way that the season ended, was the way that I approached it, because I approached it for the showdown. As in, we gave rounds away in the year from testing stuff. As in, like, if it wasn't working, it don't matter. We'll test stuff in the next race, and make sure we're ready for that final 3 rounds, which is what we prepared for. And then for it to go the way that it did, like I think I finished 3 races out of 9 in the showdown, but I finished every race up until the showdown. So it was your shit luck was the wrong way around. Wrong way around, yeah. So, but it's I think this year will be good. More so than anything, it's good for a change, isn't it? You know, it's been the same for so long, 12 years or whatever I think it ran for. I think everyone's excited for something, even though it's still a showdown-y sort of format, as in the last 3 rounds you score more points. I think just a change is good, isn't it?
Yeah. Freshens the job up a little
100%.
bit.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, going back to yourself, Tim, like, from Suzuki, and then that was 21. How did you fare up in that injury? Which injury was that, God love you?
It was...
I made that sound like you had a huge amount. That just totally belittled Tim Neave there, going, which one?
It was a little collision with Chrissy, actually. Bless him. Yeah. No, we had a coming together at Brands Hatch going into the second last corner.
Yeah, loads of room.
Would you
like to comment?
No, we'll leave that one there. But it was just ended up tearing the AC joint on my shoulder. So I've actually I got through the last couple of years with just some cortisone injections, and it's been fine. But I've actually got it sorted out properly now. So got it trimmed up, and
you've had the surgery on it.
Yeah. So, and to be fair, it's night and day. So
mega
fit again.
So that was the end of that scene. But then you stepped onto the Yamaha. Now, previously that was Hutch on that bike, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So then you've taken the Yamaha, but there was a significant difference with that bike, wasn't it? Was it the Motec?
Yeah. So when Hutchie rode it, it was well, I guess to put it into the picture, nobody's really ran a Yamaha in Superstock for years, because it just hasn't developed. It's not really. They brought that new model out in 15, I think it was, but the bike hasn't had the upgrades it probably needed in Superstock trim to make it a really competitive bike.
Yeah.
So Hutchie was running it on the kit wiring loom, which just, because nobody was running it in sort of worldwide championships or in BSB, it wasn't getting updated. It was just, and it wasn't the best, shall I say. So we got a rule change so we could run Motec on it, which meant we had to give up traction control and anti-wheelie, but it meant we had more control over certain aspects
making the bike work properly.
Yeah. Making the throttle connection better and engine braking better, and all the issues that Hutch had struggled with, we got sorted out, because obviously this team's got Tim Seed, who's well known for being a bit of a whiz kid when it comes to electronics. So he knows Motec like the back of his hand, and he got it dialed in, and it was literally, we had a few teething issues with just getting the thing running fine, but once we got them dialed, it was yeah.
Because I was going to say, when we touched on it before about you've been with them 5 years, that bike's 2015, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And the fact that it's still the best package, all-round package on a superbike grid.
It's had tweaks. It's had little motor tweaks.
Yeah,
but,
little updates.
We struggled with swing arm length in Superstock. We was always maxed out at the back. And I know a load of club races, they can like mill them out and make them a bit longer, but you can't in BSB. So that was sort of the biggest problem we suffered with it. But it was good. I mean, we won races on it and we led the championship up till my accident. So
you're a great lad of tearing yourself down here. I love it. I was going through all the technical bits. It's like, hold on, let's go back. You know, you got the Yamaha at the front. And how many rounds did you do at this point?
We did 3 before my accident.
But you won. Did you win all 3?
We won 3 of the first 5 races, and then a second and a 6th. So and yeah,
you know what broke my heart? Obviously, I'm whinging at a man with a very big injury here. But like, you know what?
Good now.
If you won when you could have won that, and if the accident happened, you would have 100%. Everyone would have gone and bought Yamahas.
I know.
That's what I love about Stock 1000, because they would have just gone. Like they would have gone. Get Steve Rogers on the phone. Can someone pre-order me one of them Yamahas?
It's now the Honda Cup, isn't it?
It's like the iPhone class, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like, who's got what?
Everyone wants Honda now, but to be fair, I've seen the test list or the entry list. There was 3 Yamahas on the grid, which is more than it has been over the last few years. So that's something.
It's the same on the roads, isn't it? Everyone's going to Hondas.
Everyone's going to Hondas. It's like, well, hold on, that's a perfect example.
We need to talk about a different manufacturer on this one.
No, we're picking up the arms here, but in both perspectives, you raced and rode against the Honda on the Yamaha.
Yeah.
What was the strengths of the Yamaha compared to the Honda in stock? And you're getting the same in Superbike. You've got time to think about it.
In Superstock, probably corner speed. You can just get off the brake and roll through the corners, and on your tracks with nice long corners and flowing kind of tracks, it was the best bike to be on. As soon as you get like a stop-start track or a track with a bit of up-down undulation, it was wheeling. And again, that's where the short swing arm thing came in, because it was just up and down, up and down. It was just hard trying to manage it all the time. Whereas the other bikes just seemed to be a bit more, they've got that aspect nailed. But I mean, flowing tracks, it was a really good feeling with the front. The way it makes its power is lovely. So yeah, it was on them kind of tracks.
They love them as a stocker in World Endurance. They love the Yamahas because as an all-round package for, especially the circuits they're going to.
I'm going to say the tracks,
to Knockhill and Cadwell.
BSB tracks are so different to the tracks out in the world scene, aren't they? So like you said, they are really popular on the world tracks, but there's not many first gear stop-start kind of tracks, is there?
Yeah. Same question.
Go on, Jason.
The Yamaha's strength in Superbike is its rideability. You know, like the biggest thing you struggle with in Superbike is their physical things to ride, the hard things to tame. Got a lot of power. The chassis are stiff on them, but the Yamaha's rideable. You know, it feels nice. It's a friendly bike. If you want me to compare it to the Honda, I only can compare it to the old Honda, you know, but racing against the new Honda, I would say the hardest thing for us on the Yamaha is that if we're in a pack or we're behind, because we're a little bit down on speed compared to the Hondas or the Ducatis or whatever, it is a little bit hard to get by, you know, because we have to ride the bikes are different. As in, if we're in front, we run a little bit more corner speed. The bike behind us struggles to pass us. If we're behind them, they're a little bit slower in the corner. We can't run our corner speed, so we struggle to pass them. So it's a little bit of a yo-yo effect of who's in front and who's behind.
But keeps the racing sharp.
And it's not that you can't pass. Of course you can. Everyone can pass. It just, on the Yamaha, you have to figure out where you can and where you can't. Same as them on us. You know, it's just slightly different way of riding a bike.
And speaking for the people, speaking as myself, is the simple answer cramming more power in? You know, you're saying, like you're saying,
sort of, but not really, because if you just fire more power in, you'll get more wheelie, you'll get the bike more aggro. The bike as an overall package is the best. For lap time, it's the best. But in the race situation, you have to manage the race situation, because the way that we have the bike set, the way it makes its power, it's just different to the other. Well, if you want to call them the newer bikes, as in the Honda, Ducati, whatever. They've just got a little bit more it's not
in an
no
ideal
secret, is it?
world,
It's got a
you'd
bit
have a
more
little
power.
bit more power at the top
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the right place.
Yeah, exactly,
But you don't
yeah.
want it to make it difficult
You don't
to
want
get
to
off
make
the
it hard,
turns,
yeah.
because
So,
that's where your strong
yeah,
point
exactly.
is.
Yeah.
I love it. This is easy. This are both Yamaha riders that you can just pick on. It's great. Have you both been curious about wanting to have a go on a Honda? It's right, like, I know you're both contracting stuff.
Absolutely not in Superbike. I've fallen on my feet with Yamaha, but in Superstock, I've raced against one.
Look at
That's a big tick.
I've raced
I
one.
love how Jason's like that gun. I'm going to think about that. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't want to ride any other bike in Superbike, but in
why is that then?
Superstock, I raced a Kawasaki for a year, I raced a Suzuki for 2 years, and I raced the Yamaha, and in all of that, the Honda's been the bike to beat. So obviously, it would have been interesting just to have had a go on Tom's bike or whatever.
Do you know? So your brother obviously, and I took the piss at the beginning. I was only having the crap before someone starts.
You kiss ass.
Absolutely getting stuck into me. You're taking a piss out of him. Fuck off. So you know when Tom made that jump, obviously you know you'll have had conversations. Has he been able to prepare you a little bit for what you're going into? I know you've had a taste of it, but
Well, I've seen what's gone wrong for him. Last year, he had a real tough year. He obviously moved up as stock champion, expecting to have a good year.
yeah.
And it was a disaster. He won't mind me saying it was a disaster for him, and he got hurt, and he lost all his confidence, and there was no enjoyment in it for him. You could see he wasn't enjoying himself when you're towards the back of the points and you're struggling.
Because we were all doing that test at Almeria in January, February last year, was it? And he was peaking.
Oh yeah,
he was on there.
He was on the
that was
high
his stock
still, and he was on a road bike.
He was on a road bike.
And
It was like fucking ABS's aggro on it, but he was just getting stuck and he was peaking for the year. Wasn't
So I feel like I've almost had a year in it almost, because we're so close and we're always together. We live near each other. We spend all our time together still. So I could feel the emotions he was going through. So I almost feel like I felt a bit of it myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I feel like I've gained a bit of experience through that in a weird sort of way.
Well,
maybe it's a special twin thing, but so yeah. And I know his approach this year is going to be different, and I can learn something from that. So.
Were you on your CBs on the tractor on a Monday morning, picking tatties? That was a shite weekend. That's what bloody hell it was.
Where are they from?
We're from Lincolnshire, mate. We're not from
I only
Ireland.
know Yorkshire cow farmers. That's all I can revert back to. Yeah. But I think it's a valuable tool for you. To be fair,
I think so. Honestly, I do feel there's some truth in that, and I feel like I'm in a good place going into Superbike. You got to have realistic expectations and goals, which I feel I have got a real good group of people around me.
You're going to share them with us, where you realistically want to put yourself.
Well, first things first, I just want to understand I need to understand the job. So I had a really little test. I think we did like 70 laps over 4 days at Cartagena in December, just after I'd had my operation on my shoulder, and I wasn't in a good place, and I didn't get much from that test. So
was this on your Superbike?
Yeah, that was it was on Jason's bike from last year, and that's all we've done. And we've had a couple of track days in Spain, just literally track days on road bikes with suspension in them. So I need to understand the bike, the tyres, and all that sort of stuff. Get into it, and then just chip away. I'm not going to go in and think I'm going to go straight to the front. I mean, Silverstone is a favourite track of mine. I've won there in Superstock for the last 3 years, so if I'm going to pull a result out, hopefully it'll be I can do a good result at Silverstone. But for the rest of the tracks, it's going to be learning and chipping away.
Can Tim work with both? Does Tim Seed work with both of you, or is he like assigned to one of you?
No, he works with the whole team. What has done since I've been there, he does all the electronics for both sides.
Because you are quite limited on there are no rider aids, are they?
Yeah.
So it's about making that superbike as usable as you possibly can for your own personal preference, really.
Yeah, and there's no rider aids as such, as in
there's no
traction or anti-wheelie, but you can kill power. You can take power away. You can make it feel what you could make it slower than a 600 if you really wanted to. You're just not going to win many races with a bike like that. You have to find a balance. You have to find a balance of how you can manage the power and you can control the power, but having enough power there when you need it to use it, which is the hardest thing to do.
Sorry, I'm just trying to think. Like, it's going like, I want to jump back. Sorry for interrupting, but I want to jump back to the idea of like, the mindset element. Injuries. Like, this sport is exactly like swimming. You're gonna get wet. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. But I want to go back to Knock Hill, and that was testing.
Yeah.
Not mate. And
Yeah.
I know you're smiling about it, but that was like I can't actually find the footage. You put it on your social media, but then did someone take it down, or you had to take it down, or was it still
it's
there?
still on there. Yeah, I just put like I managed to get the track CCTV footage. That was the only.
We're having a technical. Carry on. Keep going.
That was the only footage of the accident was the track CCTV. So it's really poor quality, but it is on my Instagram somewhere.
So, like, quickly put your tag out there for the Instagram.
Tim Neve 14, but I think I'm gonna have to try and work out how to change that to Tim Neve 54.
There
New
we are.
number for this year, but I haven't looked into that just yet.
But for the people who haven't got access to the internet, we are the 21st century. Like, talk us through what actually happened.
Well, so we just got done at Donington Park. Had a cracking weekend. We were second and a win, leading the championship by 19 points, and we thought we'd go up to Knockhill for it's a Knockhill run test, but it's for BSB riders only, so just super stock riders and whoever else.
I was about to say superstars there. I thought he's going to say it here. There we are. Only superstars allowed.
And just first time there on the Yamaha, just had a wobble around in the morning, new set of hoops in for the afternoon session, and I think it was lap 2. I've got no memory of that session at all, but a couple of laps in and going down the back straight into the hairpin, the handlebar snapped as I hit the brakes, the right handlebar. So I think on the data it was about 120 mile an hour, and as I hit the front brake, the handlebar sheared off in my hand, and I just pulled like 40 bar brake pressure or whatever it was, and it just locked. Because I was bolt upright, it just pivoted me straight over the front and slammed me into the ground, and then the bike came up and over, and the back wheel smashed my pelvis. So I ended up 2 breaks in my pelvis and a ruptured bladder. So
It's just like shrugging it off. Like if you watch this footage, it's like something out of the Looney Tunes. You know when they used to chuck anvils out the back of the plane.
I stopped pretty quick, but I think the bike made it to the fence. So it was a.
Did they pin it back together then? Across the front?
So I had a rough 24 hours, to be fair. The worst bit was...
24 hours.
Just
the worst bit...
I was back on the farm doing your accent again.
No, the worst bit was waiting
I nearly did.
The worst bit was waiting for the medics to scoop me up off the track, and then in the back of this old ambulance, which is probably like out of the 60s or something, you've probably seen Knockhill's ambulances.
Yeah, we use it down in North here.
Yeah, it wasn't the BSB, it wasn't the usual BSB medics. It was just whatever they use up there.
Yeah.
And it did me proud, but it wasn't the best service. Well, it was all right, but
TripAdvisor and paramedics.
I shouldn't say that. 'Cause I'm all right.
I'm gonna give you a 3-star.
You could have done with something a little bit quicker.
LOL morphine grade.
The 50-minute drive from the track to Ninewells Hospital in Dundee was rough, and I think I was swearing that bad at the ambulance driver to get his foot down. He actually pulled over and said, "You need to shut up swearing because it ain't going to make me get there any quicker." Get me right bollocking.
What a man.
I said, "I just need some painkillers." Yeah. That was all it was. Anyway, they got me there and gave me a nice dose of ketamine, which...
that stuff's gold.
I mean, I tell you what, it is gold.
Mate,
I never thought I'd hear myself saying that.
Absolute gold. Like, I'm not a junkie, but I've had it twice. I've broken my back twice.
I tell you what,
my God.
By the way,
Sort of
every junkie says the same thing, don't they?
Did you hallucinate?
No.
Oh, mate, I had some mad trips on that stuff. My pillow swallowed me one night.
Really?
I've
heard the stories.
Everything turned green.
I was just like, oh, finally I can relax.
Nah.
It was I'd gone because I got myself in a position with my knees up to my chest, and that was the only. But they couldn't get me in the scanner. They needed to get my legs flat, and they kept trying to pull my legs down, and I was screaming. Anyway, they gave me this, and I just remember saying, "Do what you want."
Yeah.
And literally my legs just went.
Just buy me flowers.
Yeah, that was it.
Kiss me first.
I woke up a few hours. Oh no, I threw up all over the CT scanner actually.
Oh, I spewed in the MRI machine.
And I thought, it was so bad because I'd had Knockhill Track's finest chili con carne for my lunch.
All around the inside of it.
The nurses, bless them, they said, "Whoa, what have you had for your lunch?" It was like bright red and brown. I remember that. It wasn't good. Bless them.
There's only a motorbike racers that understand and laugh at all. Like, every other person goes, "That sounds horrific."
It was. I said to him, "Get me a bucket. I'm going to be sick. Get me a bucket." Blech. I was like, why didn't you just pass me a bucket? It was all over the scanner. But anyway,
Imagine the poor bloke going in there for the next scan.
yeah.
I was laid on the stretcher with a broken back, and I'm like, I feel really, really, really sick. Like, same thing.
It's
I said to
morphine,
Kate,
isn't
I'm
it,
like,
I think?
yeah, and I just said, I need some anti-sickness because I'm going to spew. And they're like, well, we've just got another 10 minutes to go. I said, boys, I can't do another 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, swallowing hard. Like, got to get out of this machine. And I'm like, I'm going to spew. Everywhere, same thing.
Yeah.
And then they wheelie out and look at you like, why did you do that? I
Did
give you a
warn
warning.
you.
I did tell you.
That's what I said. I did warn you.
Because the back was busted, I couldn't do it. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I stretched it down. I was just like, But anyway, and then
Any hardcore drug experiences before we leave this conversation, Jason?
No, not that I can remember anyway.
He's done it
you
properly.
got the real good stuff. Shit.
to be fair, the injuries you've had make mine look a joke.
No,
to be
no,
fair,
no.
that bigger than you had up in Scotland, but
Do you know if I'm going to get serious though?
Oh God.
How hard is it? Because I'm talking from personal experience. How hard it is when you're laid in that hospital bed, you've got tubes out the end of you. You know, things aren't looking particularly rosy, are they? You've lost all your dignity. Someone's washing you.
I lost my dignity all right up there.
Yeah, it's horrendous, isn't it? It's horrendous, and I don't think people realise how bad it is. You're going through all of that, just thinking, when's this going to end?
Yeah.
When's this going to end? Psychologically, again.
There's a few rough days, but
Yeah.
for them, I will say I was up there. I think 11 or 9 days in hospital, and it only took. I think day 3 and 4 were the worst, and then it was every day was a bit better after that.
Good.
So just I remember 2 bad days where I thought, God, this is not good. But other than that, it was, yeah.
Any doubts of riding bikes between that? You know, that is the question, isn't it? You know what I mean? I don't think any. To be blunt, I don't think it must flick through your mind for a brief second, and then you just go, you know what?
What a worry of injury.
No. Like, do you want to ride a bike again at this point?
Well, it'll sound ridiculous, but when I woke up in the gravel trap after the crash, I said I'm still going to win the championship.
Good lad.
Which is stupid, but
That was without the
I was
cat
like, because I'd only ever broken like wrists and collarbones and stuff before. I'd never had a big injury, so I just thought, it'd just be another knock.
Yeah.
I'm a bit sore, but I didn't know what I'd done at the time, so nothing was going to stop me getting back to it. And we'd got a big 4-week and a big 5-week gap for the TT and whatever else. So I knew we'd had some time, but I didn't realise till the next day what I needed, like the metalwork and whatever else. So
Even going back into the detail of that, so you've chucked chili con carne all over the MRI, but what was your actual pelvis, and they gave you a fixated, internal fixated, is that right?
Yeah, internal. They just basically bolted a bar across the front of my pelvis.
Does that come out or not?
Yeah, that came out, and then I've got 2 like bloody wood screws about that long in my sacrum. Like, you can see all the things on them.
I tell you what, it's mental though. You know, have you ever watched like those programs? You know, like surgery programs. It's all delicate. They're all clean. They're everything like that, and then someone bangs out a DeWalt.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know, but them screws stayed in, which I'm over that now, because for ages I was really funny about having metalwork in me, and especially in like your lower back. But I've forgotten all about them now. So
Have you got any metalwork still?
Yeah,
or-
I've got quite a bit actually. I've got both ankles. I've got screws and plates. I've got a rod from my knee to my right hip, so I've got right femur still got a rod in it. Screws through right knee,
I
right
thought
hip.
they took femur rods out.
Well,
for racing.
Yeah, I had to leave mine in.
Could
just
you have
from-
it out?
No, just from the. I lost quite a bit of bone from when I broke it, so it needed to stay in.
is that bridged since then, or is it still?
To be honest, I've not had it looked at for a long time, so it's been a few years since I've had a look at the old femur. I sort of leave it alone while it's doing all right.
I think we should stop talking about that bit.
No, I tell you what, like you say, there's a lot of people that don't understand, you know, like the full ins and outs of actually injury and recovery. Like my dad, he's like, he'll hate me for saying this. Good thing he doesn't listen to the pod. He's 62 and he's had his pin removed. It was in 3 bits from like the classic TT crash. And you recently just had all your metalwork removed, haven't you? And you feel like you were telling me.
I had 6 vertebrae fused, and I got one lot in, and then I broke it again at Scarborough, and they put another. They bridged, because basically it broke the next one down underneath the metalwork, because it's so rigid, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that was always my worry, was what
That's
happens
what I was
with
thinking,
it, and you panic about it, don't you? And I've struggled for the last 3 years. I've been in real bad pain, like my bollocks, my legs, just horrible. Sleeping's horrendous. As soon as I think I'll start training, frightened of riding a motocross bike.
Yeah.
I'm like, I daren't ride a motocross bike. And I had the option to get it all taken out 6 weeks ago, and it's night and day.
Honestly.
Mate, I was laid in the hospital bed afterwards, and I rolled on my side, and it's the first time I've rolled on my side in probably 5 years, and thought, that didn't hurt.
Oh, mega.
And my bollocks didn't hurt. Which sounds...
You keep bringing that up, mate.
I know, because it's horrible. If you get kicked in the cogs, it hurts, doesn't it?
Is everything all right at home? Yeah.
It was, to be honest with you,
nerve was it or something?
yeah, but I thought I had cancer or something, because they hurt all the time, constantly, horrible. I can't. It was awful. And
I'm being genuinely serious. Did you actually get checked for that? You know,
I did. Yeah, I went to the doctors. Yeah,
Yeah,
I went to the doctors, and because I didn't know.
Any balls are right now?
Mate, golden. Filled the pram twice while they hurt. You know.
Make the most of it.
But yeah, they took it out, and I didn't think it would be that different, but it is. And back training and sleeping better, and so
Sweet.
I would recommend to anybody who's listening who's in pain from surgery that's got metalwork, don't discount having it out, because I ummed and ahed about them going back in. I thought,
I kept saying to the doctor, I need them screws out my back, because I was limping every day.
yeah,
And he said, just give it time, like 12 months is like a magic number. I think we're now at like 9 months, to be fair. It's like a few exercises in the gym that make me limp for an hour, and then it's gone again. So I honestly think come 12 months it'll be spot on.
yeah, and if it's not causing day-to-day
No,
bother, that's fine.
it's fine now, but there was a point where I was like, I need them out.
Yeah.
But it's just time is like the biggest healer, innit?
Yeah, definitely.
Because what was your turnaround time to get back, like to be back on a bike?
Well, I ended up getting some private advice, because the NHS would have had the bar in for like 4 months or something ridiculous, and I was like, I couldn't even sit up in bed, because I got off my crutches, but it was chafing, like there was the bolt tops, you could feel them under your skin,
Aggro.
and like just walking or anything was aggro. So I was like, I need to get this bar out as soon as I can, and I found a doctor up in Manchester, and he agreed that we could take it out. The pelvis was healed, we could take it out. So he said, ideally, I'd leave it in for another 2-3 weeks. But I said, well, am I going to fall apart if you take it out?
Just take it steady.
No. So he's like, right, I'll book you in next week. So that was 9 weeks. I had the bar out after 9 weeks. And then I did a track day at 9.5 weeks. And then I was racing at Fruxton at 10. Which is mental looking back. And that was me, because I'd only missed 2 rounds. I was still I think I was 4th in the championship, only 30 points down. Or 40, or whatever it was. And I thought, I still stand a chance here. So if I do a track day, still want to win this championship. But as it turned out, Fruxton didn't go to plan. We had an oil leak on lap 1 of race 1. So literally my foot slipped off the peg. I didn't realise, but there's oil like pummeling out the back of the bike on the video. And everyone thought, oh God, he's going to have a massive crash again. You know how fast Fruxton is. But anyway, my foot slipped off, and I saw the oil on my boot, so I pulled it in. And then race 2, David Allingham had a big crash and got the race stopped. And it was restarted, and at Thruxton everyone could restart with new tyres. But for whatever reason, we didn't know about that rule. It's one rule for Thruxton, you can have a new tyre. We didn't have a new tyre ready, so I just went backwards. Thruxton's, you need a tyre at Thruxton.
Yeah.
So, and that was literally, it was at that point where I realised, fuck, I can't win the championship, or it's going to be so hard to claw back like 60 points, because I didn't score a point at Thruxton. I scored like 4 points at Thruxton. I thought, if I can score 20 points over both races, then we're still in with a shot.
You know what you needed? A showdown.
Yeah, I did. And it was honestly, it was like my determination from the...
Don't mention the S word.
Yeah.
He is giving me quite a dirty look there.
Yeah. I could have done with one, but from like the minute I remember in the gravel trap to Thruxton, I was just like pure mindset of get back. It like got me through my recovery, because like it wasn't easy, but it was easy when you got focus, like a really good
something
focus.
to work towards.
Yeah.
It's a reason to keep getting up and pushing.
And then all of a sudden that was gone, and it was just like, it was just like a bit of a downer again after Thruxton. But I mean, we carried on racing until the end of the year, and we did all right. We got a podium at Snetterton, we got 3rd, and we did a respectable job. But
was you 3rd at Brands last round?
No, 6th, I think. I had a bit of a gravel trap excursion on last lap.
Yeah.
Nearly came off, but we didn't. Flipping it, could have ended in gravel, but we brought it home. So it was just one of them. It just didn't go to plan. But after I realised I couldn't win the championship, it was just I just wanted to stay on the thing. Like I wasn't in a fit state to crash. Although I was racing, I could not afford to crash. So I just stayed on the thing after that.
How hard, like that mindset is mental, isn't it? Because you must have been in those situations many a time. The fact of actually going, right, let's go win, but I can't crash.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's hard.
You know what? It's that. You know, every time I get on a bike, it is always that mindset. But when you think I could really make a mess of myself, how
it's
difficult
really difficult,
is that?
isn't it? Because we all want to ride. You all want to ride bikes, as in Tim's situation last year wants to get back. My situation years ago when I've had broken legs or shoulders or whatever, you want to get back. That's the first thing you want to do. But when you're just rolling around trying to stay on, not really getting results, probably the worst thing for you to be doing, as in you might as well be resting and getting better and trying to come back fit. But then at the same time, you have 3 or 4 rounds out, you get forgotten about, you don't come back.
Yeah.
So what do? You know what I mean? You're in a hard, you're in a hard place. You know, you have to get back. We all want to come back, but you're almost forced to come back. You have to. It's the sport. You know what I mean? If you don't, someone else jumps in and you get, you get shuffled along. So you got to.
It's a bike racer's mentality as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we are all competitive. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you always want to win. It doesn't matter that everyone on that grid has that same mentality. Whether they are winning or the last, everyone's so competitive. Yeah. That's what makes you boys the level that you are. Because it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're flat tracking at Boasties on them little hundreds or going and doing a superbike test, you all still want to be...
Everyone wants to be fastest,
the fastest, don't you? Which is how you keep getting back on the bike. Which, that's the mentality.
It's a drug, and you just want to get back to where you know you can be or keep improving. But like Jay said, when you're rolling around just trying to stay on the thing, it's not a good place to be, and you don't perform to your potential.
You're not enjoying yourself, are you?
No.
So, and that's a happy rider's a fast rider, isn't it?
You know the old saying of you fall off a horse, you get straight back on it. You know, if you had an injury like that, and you said, "I'll take the rest of the year out," do you think that would be more like how hard do you think it would take to get back up?
Well, I actually did that in 2015. So in 2015, I broke my femur. First, again, I'd worked a long time to get in Superbike. First Superbike year with Honda. A couple of podiums, around 3 or 4, I think it was, Snetterton. Went to the 8 hour, come back from the 8 hour, broke my femur in qualifying at Thruxton, and then I didn't ride for the rest of the year. Next time I rode was the following year. And then that was not a bad year either. So it wasn't like... your mind says, should I take this long out? As in, it's not something I've ever done before.
Yeah.
But it was actually quite good. As in, when you come back, one thing that you lose when you have time out with injuries, your physical fitness. Do you know what I mean? You've not been training. Your body's using so much energy to recover from injuries. Your fitness plummets. So not only are you struggling with physically moving around the bike, you're now knackered from riding the bike. So one thing from being able to do that was I actually took the rest of the year off. I recovered. Then I had a pre-season training. Then I came back to ride. So it was actually all right.
How much job security did you have? You know, was
Zero.
that first
At the time? None. As in, that was just what I had to do. As in, I couldn't physically ride with my femur how it was. So I was forced into that situation. But lucky enough at the time, I'd had a good first bit. You know, what I mean, I just had first year in Superbike. I just had a double podium. Yeah, we were doing all right. You know, it wasn't bad. So it was always. It wasn't like I was definitely gonna get a shot again, but I felt that it was difficult. But I was with Honda at the time as well. I'd spent a long time with them. It wasn't my first year with them, as in it was my first year on Superbike, but I'd been with them already for 5 years or 4 years, whatever it was before that. You know, so I knew everyone there quite well.
Were you able to have a word with yourself during that period and go, Jason, you're not going to forget how to ride a bike?
Yeah,
it's going to be fine.
You know what? I do that every winter. Yeah. Even when I've not had an injury, I think I've forgotten how to ride a motorbike before I go ride again. And then you do 2 laps and you think, I'm all right.
Yeah. I remember now.
I'm right now. It's mad, isn't it?
Can I go back to crashes? Can we talk about Alton Park, or do you not want to talk about it?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Come on.
At the end of last year. Yeah.
Because it became such a huge controversial thing on it.
It was massive. I got honestly right at the end of last year, and at the end of last year I come off social media, as in around that time, because I'm not being funny. I got absolutely smashed on social media after that, which
People don't understand how much it fucking destroys your mentality.
Yeah, like-
social
but
media.
that particular episode, like that situation even was disgusting solely because of the social media element. It really was, because people like somehow got a right in their own mind to go, you know what, I'm going to tell everyone everything, the organisers, you personally, like all the riders personally, think, hold on.
It was tough as in, I think it was tough as in, what the outside doesn't understand is that you work all year, not 1 year. This is 20 years of work, like to get to a point where you want to fight for a championship. You're in that position. Whether it would or wouldn't have happened doesn't matter. You were in the position to do what you were doing. And in that particular race, the first race at Alton Park, we knew Brad was going to be super strong after qualifying. We also knew from the year, if you look at the races, that on Sunday he may come back to us, which he did end up doing to the other guys. I didn't race on the Sunday, this third race on the Sunday, but on Sunday he'd come back from whatever reason, whether it was settings or whatever issues that he had on that day. So we knew all I had to do on Saturday was be as close to him as possible. If he won the race, it didn't matter as long as I was second or third. And I was second and third throughout that race with Tommy. Pete was behind me. I knew he was behind me because I seen it on the pit board every single lap, +0, +0, +0, +0. And I thought, I come up into Druids, got a good run out of Hizzies, and I was lining Tommy up for a pass into the last corner because I was really good through Druids and I was good into the last corner. And then the bit that people didn't understand, the most bits that I seen before I stopped looking at it, was that people said, yeah, Pete came through on you and you should have lifted. I was already going down before I even knew Pete was there, as in he came through with so much speed.
And those camera angles don't show
They don't show it at all.
From
as
the
in,
rear or the side or an
if you
onboard.
watch an onboard, you're coming from here and I'm here and I'm turning in, you can send someone straight through and I can hit the back of you, but I don't know that you're there until I'm on the floor because you've come through with that much speed.
I also think that camera angle doesn't show how fast it is into there.
Like it's fifth gear into there, right?
It's fast.
And I'm not being
for
funny.
perspective,
Like,
how fast is fifth gear roughly?
Like on the entry to there, you're doing 130, 140 mile an hour, right? And that part of racetrack is probably the most dangerous part of racetrack in the country, I would say. As in, you got Armco on the inside, Armco and trees on the outside, and that tyre wall ain't far away on the distance.
I've hit the Armco on the exit there.
Have you?
Over the little brow. I high-sided just before the brow and hit that Armco on the left. And every time through that, I was thinking, it's a bit near,
it's fast, isn't it? And like, I think it was more like people, I think, reacted to my interview afterwards. As in, I said Pete had not. My comment was Pete had not turned up all year, and for this race he'd done that with 2 corners to go. And people, I think, took that as in, he shouldn't be on the racetrack because you're racing for a championship. I didn't say that, but I was racing for a championship, and you didn't make the showdown. You had the same opportunity as everybody else to make the showdown. You didn't. I didn't get a wheel all race. 2 corners to go, you sideswiped me. That was hard. That was really hard to take that as in, and I said on social media after, just a little bit of respect. It wasn't me putting my hand up saying I'm better than you or anything like that. It was just, why don't we just respect each other and what's going on this racetrack? Look after each other. And it's a sporting event. You're not in the championship as such, and I know you're going for a podium. That's cool. That is what it is. But you had 15 laps to pass me at this track and you didn't show me a wheel. And that's how you tried to get by me, and I know it was last, 2 corners to go and all the rest of it. Everyone will see it how they see it. But yeah, that was pretty hard to take, that one. And then the hardest thing after that was that it flipped on me. It ended up being my fault. And I don't care who speaks to me, that was not my fault, that accident. And the one the next day wasn't my fault. And anyone that sees that as my fault is just not right.
That was
because Tommy. That was the Tommy one. That was the following day, not on the same day. And
so that was the one before was the last lap of race 1, and then the next one was the first lap of race 2.
You couldn't write it, could you? You couldn't write it. I remember watching it and being like, "How's that happened again?
Yeah.
How has that happened?"
And then I'm going to touch on it because I've not said anything on it before, and I don't care really. But Tommy's comments after that were wrong, as in. He said that I was too slow. I don't know exactly what they were. It was something like I was too slow, shouldn't be on the racetrack or whatever at that point.
He was very vocal about.
That fueled it as well. Like that made it really bad on social as well, because people sort of jumped on that and went,
So
it's you, and like that. I'd won 7 races that year and he'd not won any at that point. So.
And again, they're interviewing
Sorry, Tommy.
But they're sticking a microphone under his mouth.
Yeah.
When he's fueled up as well, isn't it? You're all charged, and you're gonna maybe. And like
I've spoken to him since that, and like I've even spoke to Pete since that, and like we actually all. Every rider in the paddock actually gets on right. There's no one that actually has any beef with anyone, or like I could sit here and talk to any of my competitors, no problem. But I just think on the racetrack, last year, especially last year, it just went a little bit too far, I think, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know if you saw all the stuff that's kicked off with Alex Lowe's and Loris Baz from Mandalika.
No.
And he's getting...
I've seen the accident, but I've not seen the...
Alex is just getting absolutely annihilated. And even Loris has said...
Yeah,
it's
they
cool
took a selfie together saying it's all cool, isn't it?
It's like, it's one of them things. I put my leg out.
He hit it.
It got caught.
Yeah.
It snapped my leg. Chill out. Stop giving him shit.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing, isn't it? It's the mates. It's cool. They haven't got a problem with each other. So why does somebody sat in front of a keyboard have to have a problem with it?
Yeah. And it's easy, as racers, it's easy for us to go, I will just come off social media or whatever. But you still see it. You know what I mean? You still...
Well, someone
every time you go on your phone, you still get a notification. And even if you don't scroll through them, you still see the negative comments. And it puts a negative light. Like the last... For me personally, the last part of last year, everyone just remembers the negative stuff. Everyone remembers the image that you have as in people pointing the finger at you, or me shouting at the side of the track because I'm aggro. And that's what you're branded with. Yet you've actually had an amazing season except for that part. So the focus needs to go off that, really.
This is the bad side of the internet. It's giving people a platform.
Giving them a voice, hasn't it? And it can be used for amazing things and it can be used for really bad stuff, really.
But as far as like racing now, you have to be on it.
Oh, you have to
be on the social media. You can't. Unfortunately, that is the shy part of it, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Imagine if you went now, I'm just going to scrap social media. I'm not going to do anything for any of my sponsors, my team, nothing. Imagine how chuffed they'd be with you. They go, oh, great, yeah, well done. Yeah. We'll just support someone else. They're not going to do that, but they could do that because it's a massive part of what they do. That's how they get their coverage. So
it's your platform in their hand, isn't it?
But you're accessible, aren't you? So
would you say that's been your lowest point, or where was that in your career? Was that your lowest point, or was it just something I want to forget about?
The lowest point for me was the end of 21, when I lost the championship. That was the hardest part to deal with. The end of last year was hard to deal with because I felt like for all of my career, I've been fair. I've always given the fans a lot of time, whether it be through social media or whether it be at the racetrack. And don't get me wrong, I still had a lot of support, but I felt like it turned on me really savage. Yeah. And it was one second out of a whole career that it just went and flicked. And so it's probably gone back the other way now because I've got a lot of support, lot more positive now than negative. But
yeah.
And especially at that time, you're not only dealing with the social media side of things, that's like fueling how you're feeling. As in, don't forget that you've just been taken out of a champion. You've worked all year or years for a championship. So emotionally, you're dealing with that, processing that going on, and then you're getting smashed daily by it's just like, what's going on here? But yeah, you get through it, don't you?
Have you actually ever experienced anything like that?
No, thankfully. Yeah, no, I've not been involved in any takeouts or anything like that. And I remember watching it. Obviously, I was in the same team last year, and I remember watching the second crash the next morning and just thinking, I can't believe what I've just watched. Like the same accident on the same corner, just how raw it all was. And then Taz went and broke his leg in the race after that, and I remember just thinking, flipping out, what is this sport like? Because obviously my emotions were really heightened to accidents at that point still. And I remember just thinking, flipping out, like, what are we doing? Like, what is this all about? Like, people getting hurt, people taking each other out. Like, it's not about... Because I've got enough belief in myself. I trust myself like implicitly. I'm not going to do anything daft or whatever. But it's like the added aspect of what somebody else might do to you.
And the thing is, in that stock class, it's like your class.
Well, just what I'm on about, just watching that's in the superbikes, but in any class, I suppose it matters, doesn't it? But
yeah, but you must have been watching that and then thinking, I've got to go out with all them headbangers.
But you don't want, you want to be worrying about what you're doing,
and
making your race and your plan, not having to worry about what the man behind you is going to do. You don't want eyes on the back of your head all the time, do you?
Yeah, like you said.
So I just remember thinking, flipping it, this isn't good. But hopefully it's all settled down, and I think everyone will learn something from it, won't they?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think anyone no one wants to be in that. Malicious. No one wants to be in that scenario, And if you sat down now, if Pete and Tommy were here now and we chatted about it, I'm sure we would all have our own side of the story, but we would all come to the conclusion that no one wants. Yeah. Forget what end you're on of
it's
it.
Just one no of those one wants it. That
yeah. No one wants to be involved in that. So I think we're all on the same page with that. And the racing in BSB is mega. The fans for 99.9% of it are amazing. Just that little percentage when something goes wrong, they jump on the bad stuff. But I think we're in for a cracking year, and I think we're in for a better year from that side of things than what we had last year.
So like moving into 22, that was beautifully done. He's doing our job for us. That was beautifully done there. So it's a bit like I couldn't help but notice you lads weren't at the Navarra test. What was all? So how much testing have you done so far this year?
Nothing. We're not tested at all. The only thing we've had was at Almeria. We had 4 days at Almeria just on some stock bikes. We've not done any. We've not been on the BSB bike since October, since Brands.
The boys have been busy. I think they've had these new engine specs that they're trying on the dyno and figuring things out, aren't they?
Yeah. They got plenty at the workshop. They've got plenty going on. But from my, I think if we'd pushed the issue, we could have done the Navarra test. But I think for me personally, I'd not been to Navarra. I've got a few things that I need to test, which obviously if the weather's no good next week or whenever the test is, okay, you're going to lose out on some time. But for me to choose an engine spec, for me to choose a swing arm spec, for me to choose something else, I don't want to do that at a track I don't know. So I have to for me to evaluate that properly and sensibly, I have to do that at tracks that I know. So
I was going to ask you, do you think that doing the whole Spain testing things, it's good for bike time, but that's about it, because their circuits are just nothing like that.
I've said it for a little bit of time now, and I might be wrong. I don't know. Everyone's got their own way of doing it, but if you just go out there and you just ride a motorbike around a racetrack and you get some bike time, you're fine.
You're working all the right muscle groups, keeps you sharp.
I've been to Spain so many times. I did it in 2019. I won everything in winter in Spain, and I come back here and I got hurt after Silverstone, but it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. I've done it with Honda in the past. You go Spanish testing, you're killing it, you're fast, and you come back here and you think, what have we done? What have we done?
Because we're
just going that way and that way, and where you probably should just turn it all back and start again, because you've just gone left, right, up and down for no reason. So the tracks here are different, the tarmac's different, the weather's different. For other than bike time, I don't think it's actual testing, but everyone's got their own opinion on it.
And what's your opinion on that? Because with no experience on this superbike.
Yeah, well, that's what it boils down to for me. At the end of the day, the team are going to go with what Jason wants in terms of development and testing. I'm not going to be at Silverstone and Donington over the next few days testing parts. I'm going to be riding a bike, which is proven. It basically is Jason's bike from last year, just with 54s on it and whatever else. But for me, it's just getting up to speed. There's no doubt about it. The bike's flipping way better than I am at the minute. So I just need to ride the thing and adapt myself to it. That'll come later on down the line. I guess Jace will be doing the testing, and if he says this swing arm's miles better or this engine spec's miles better, then I'll end up getting it. But testing is not really a big part of it for me. It's practice. I can't really go around saying I'm testing.
We had Alex Lowe's on a few weeks ago, and it was really interesting listening to him. He's in. Sorry, man.
No, you carry on, son. I'm working around you, son. Don't you?
He was quite vocal and open about his situation with Jonathan Ray being his teammate, and how he and the Kawasaki team sort of just follow whatever Jonathan does. That's what we're doing, because You know, he's won 6 world championships. That's what works.
You can't argue with that, can you?
But he sort of has a different take on wanting to do certain things differently, and it'd be interesting to talk to you in, you know, 12 months' time.
I'm not saying that won't happen. I'm just saying that will come later on down the line for me. At this point,
100%.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah,
absolutely, and I think it's. I agree for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I agree exactly.
So I'm just. That's fine for me.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I must ask though. I must ask now. OMG bought your old bike, and then Brad, Ray, and Kyle Ride hopped on them. Were you at any point looking at that, going, "Why is this different to that? What's got like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that like a bit of a? It would have melted my head. I'm going, can I have my old bike back? Ding dong.
Well, we basically did that, as in the start of the year was quite difficult for us because I was testing a lot of different things, as in settings on the bike. We had a new chassis, we had a new engine spec, we had a new seat unit, we had a new. It seemed like everything was different. Meanwhile, trying to try new settings because I had a new crew chief, and these guys have got what we finished with, which was ready to rock and roll, which obviously was better than us at the start of the year. So it was really tough because when you look at the teams, it was expected for us to be the winners, and I wasn't winning straight away, and they were on the podium. Meanwhile, we're chasing our tail, as in, shit, we need to get this right sharpish. So then we had to start turning the clock back, and then we ended up basically racing a 21 spec-ish sort of bike, really. So, and then at round 3, that's when we started winning again. Then we went on from there. So it's always difficult when you get new parts. When someone else gets a bit like what Tim's saying there, if they start on my bike from last year and we're testing stuff, that's our reference, you know. And last year OMG was the reference, and they showed at the start of the year that it was better than what we were doing with the stuff that we were testing. So the only thing when you test stuff, and I've had it before where it doesn't work, and I've had it before where it does work. If you want to call it ego, or you want to call it your head, or whatever you want to call it, as long as you're cool to go, that didn't work, we need to go back, you're fine. The day that you say, no, we can't go back because we're going down this road, that's when it's knackered. So as long as if you test new stuff and it don't work and you're happy to go back, you're fine.
Or you get yourself that wound up with so many different things, you think, is it better, isn't it better?
Yeah,
I don't know where to go.
And to start with, a little bit like the Spanish testing thing before, like when we're talking about that, when you go somewhere and you feel like you have to ride, you feel like you have to test things, you feel like you've got something new, you almost feel pressured down that road to keep down that road, because it's cost a lot of money, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of, you feel pressure that this should be better, everyone's telling me it's better, but really I don't think it's better. You get pushed so far down a road and it doesn't work, so you just have to balance yourself a little bit and be
how
sensible.
Relaxed is that atmosphere in there, or the approach to things, if that scenario happens? So they say to you, we've got a new swing arm with this geometry, it's cost this much to develop it, we've had 6 of them made, this is going to be the bollocks.
Well, it's obviously a bit stressful for Steve, isn't it? But
you do 10 laps and go.
To be honest, to be fair to him, we had a test at Alton Park last year, so I think we did the first 2 rounds. I think it was the first 2 rounds we had a test at Alton, I think it was. And at the end of that test, spoke to Steve, spoke to our crew, and we just said, right, we have to turn back. And he was sweet, he was fine. He wanted to win races again, and the next round we did the double. So,
and you were confident at that point. We go right back to where we were. I'm going to smoke him.
Yeah, well, I was going to make it work, wasn't
I? Correct answer.
So it was, it was a combination of feeling like it was the right thing to do, obviously being the right thing to do, everything gelled, feeling good, and away you go. But it's difficult. And last year I felt pressure at the start of the year because you've got another team on Yamahas now, they're doing really well and we're struggling a bit. It's like, what's going on? Everything's in fast forward, you don't have enough time ever. And then once it turned at Donington, then we're away, really. So
because I think Raceways Yamaha are the first team in history to ever sell an actual race bike. You know what I mean? Normally you buy a race bike, everyone takes all the trick stuff off it. You actually, lads, were genuinely honest and go, yeah, that's actually Jason's bike. And they hopped on it and fuck off. You know what I mean? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wheeled out apart firmo, wasn't it?
But there we are. Any tips out there? You buy a bike at the
From
racetrack.
these
yeah, from Raceways. Yeah,
Money well spent for them guys, wasn't it?
100%.
How different between the stocker you rode last year, just for the listeners that maybe don't know quite how different that bike's going to be for you to adapt to. How different is that bike? The changes in there, because BSB have been quite good to try and sort of keep the cost down and the spending down and stop people going crazy with the championship. They've tried to make those rules as fair as they can while producing exciting racing.
I think in terms of cost and parts, they're a million ways different, but
As a physical bike to
a big
ride.
thing for this year is Superstock are now on slicks, which I think is going to really highlight how much, like, you'll spend an extra $100,000 on your superbike, and it's it might be only half a second faster a lap now, because I mean at certain tracks it's only a second anyway.
Do you really think it's literally going to bridge that much of a gap?
And there's a lot in tyres, Superstock tyres compared to slick. There's quite a bit of difference. We'll see, won't we?
Is the reasoning behind that? Is it literally financial?
I heard it was something to do with
I have no idea.
To produce like a one-off Superstock tyre, which only our championship use now, BSB. It's not used around the world. Just a lot of money and resources for when they just might as well roll a slick out, which is used for everything. I think that's what.
But in the long run, could be good, because I think if Superstock times and Superbike times, if say we're the same, say it's exactly the same, well, you can't have the Premier Class in the country being slower than Superstock, can you?
No, you can't.
So you need to, then the regulations here are going to have to change, aren't they? Because again, the regulations in Superbike now, how long have they been the same for now?
Very long time.
Long time. Yeah. So it's, you know what I mean, you need to, you need to move it on, you need to change the regulations. And I think if the lap time on both classes are the same, they'll have to.
Ooh, it'll be a really interesting one
crystal
to see
ball out. I like it.
Yeah. See where the first position in stock, where it would place him in Superbike.
Yep.
And that'll be a cool thing to be doing.
It's definitely going to close a gap, without a doubt. So it'd be interesting.
In your opinion, is that good or bad?
I think there should be a gap. Like Jay said, you don't want them. You don't want them threatening the Superbike times too much.
But then what was dead interesting, Jason's idea of the evolution of it. You know what I mean? It's like, right, bring that up.
Yeah.
Right,
well, the worst thing is now, like, say you got a Superstock guy, and you've got electronics. I don't know what the rules are. I've not looked at them. But say you've got a Superstock guy this year on slicks, and they're doing the same lap time as us, and they're winning races, and then they jump to Superbike, and now they're going slower in Superbike than what they were in stock. You can't have that. That's not the way it's meant to go. So you need to lift this regulations, and then they can, you know what I mean? So I think they'll need to change something.
It'll make that transfer from stock to Superbike in some ways possibly slightly easier, because the tyre side of stuff, what you're fighting with stock.
If I'd had 3 years on slicks in Superstock, because I feel like a big thing for me is it isn't a massive thing, but the front tyre is quite a bit different. On a Superstock bike, you're braking, you can feel the tyre moving around. You get on a Superbike, and it probably does once you're on it. But for me, it was just like, that front tyre's numb on the Superbike. I'm not getting the same feeling from the front slick. So I feel like if I'd had 3 years on slicks, it wouldn't even enter my mind.
Yeah.
But at the minute, it's like, I just need to get dialed into the front tyre. But we had 2 track days in Spain on them now, and I'm getting a feel for it, so just a bit of time. I
tell you what, we're getting the minute board in the corner here, because Dan Bennett's are trying to nick you next. But I tell you what, before we do the Patreon questions element, I need to bring something up, and obviously go into it in whatever detail you would like to, Jason. But from us at Chasing Racing, and quite frankly the motorcycle community, you did an amazing thing when it came to Mr. Ian Hutchinson. You were out in Spain, that's right, isn't it? So and he's
we're I'll give you a little bit of the story, but I'd prefer Hotchie to tell the story.
It's his story, isn't it?
Yeah, when he's up for, maybe you guys get him on the pod or whatever, and he can tell the story. But the short and sweet of it, I got to Spain Saturday. I was out cycling. Hotchie texts me, do you want to have dinner tonight? I'm in Mahaka, where he's staying. I said, yeah, sweet, catch up with you for tea. having a bit of pizza and stuff, and I said, I'm going out cycling tomorrow, and he told me he'd been doing some cycling whilst he'd been out there. So I was like, yeah, sweet, we'll go for a steady pedal. Tim's been out with us plenty of times out there. There's a little cafe that we cycle out to, have a coffee and cycle back. And we'd cycled out, had a good chat. And to be honest, it was, now when I look back on the day, it was a really strange day, like it was a weird day. It was, we cycled out, sun's out, beautiful day, sat down, had a coffee. We were talking about loads, just like good stuff, do you know what I mean? Just life,
not the crack,
not just bike racing, but just life in general, and he was telling me about his daughter, and we were talking about, I got engaged, like just normal stuff, and then we left that cafe, and then about 10-15 minutes after that, he'd obviously had a stroke, and managed to get him the help that he needed, really. So it was it was a scary day, that's for sure. And after that, to see his progress that he had, how fast the progress was that week, was incredible. So wishing him the best, really.
You spoke to him since? He's good.
He's good. It's I think it's strange when you see it from the first moment that it happens to then you fully see the recovery process, and the bounce back from day dot to now is unbelievable.
Because I think obviously when that news came out, everybody thinks the worst, don't they? We all have an image of someone who's had a stroke, and it's it's hard to sort of stomach, isn't it? So I think for people,
especially with someone so young as well, it's not it's a fit, healthy lad in it, and he's young, so but he'll talk you through it.
Well, like you say, it's obviously so unfortunate that he's had the stroke, but he was lucky you were there, mate. If he was out there by himself on on a Spanish road somewhere,
or the night before when we had dinner, that day he'd been out, and we've done this ride as well. You go the other way out the hotel, and there's nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's just little mountains and stuff, and there's hardly any people. There's no houses, nothing. So really unlucky day from what happened, but bloody lucky day.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, he put out on his social media thanking you. So honest, but hey, from all of us, and like I say, everyone in motorcycle racing, thank you just for looking after each other. I feel like we should
absolutely.
We're not hugging, but it's one of those. I tell you what, I've got good thing Grace is here keeping an eye on us. So we're gonna have to go through a few questions from the amazing patrons. Without them, this just would not be happening. Chris Foreman, we kind of answered your question already with the OMG, that touchy little subject. Aaron Jeffs, right, here we go. What is the best teammate you've ever had? Don't you dare say each other, because it's corporate case. You haven't worked together to say that. So
they've been holding hands on that.
I've never really had a teammate. Me and Tom, when we was running our own team.
Who's quicker, you or Tom?
It's going to be me this year.
I'm doing it.
It's going to be me this year.
Damn right. Right, go on. Who's the best teammate you've ever had?
He might have a Superstock championship. That's where it stops.
Best teammates is a hard one, isn't it? Because
Taz.
The last few years with Taz, we've been super competitive, so we're not really spent much time with each other because we're being main competitors. But now we'd be mint, really no issues. Before that, I had Linny at Honda, which was always good. I'm sure Tim's going to be good this year. Yeah, it's all good, really.
Worst teammate? Go on, just spit it out.
A name came straight to his head. I can't say it.
Well, I don't know.
Well, you nearly had it. I tell you what, I've got a quick one from Craig House. That is a massive but some of the question is, mate, how do you get that low at Peter Boast's on the limbo bar? So they set a limbo up and you got to slide under
Practice. That is my bread and butter. That is flat tracking. I've done more laps in that shed than anyone.
How high?
I don't actually know what the measurement is, but
you do. Don't piss off. Like he doesn't know his worst teammate.
I haven't done it for a few years, but it's just lots of laps.
Lots and lots of laps. I love it. To be honest, I think we've fairly gone through them. So Scott, we've answered you. Mike, we've answered yourself. Yeah, we're getting through them. So, and obviously we had Jess Mortimer. Snog, marry, avoid.
Snog, marry, avoid.
Joe, Dom and Josh.
Who? Joe to
me and Josh Corner.
Come on, boys.
Right, this is going to take a bit of thought, isn't it?
I'll let Tim take this one.
Oh, dear me.
Oh, you cop out. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I'm going to marry you.
Do you think? We'll be alright. We'll be alright.
He's married.
I'm going to avoid you. And I'll give Josh a kiss. I've not even met him, but he can have one.
He's a good looking lad, don't worry about it, son. He's got a Range Rover, he's right up your street, loads of money and a big sellout there.
Oh dear.
Go on, Jason.
I'm just going to avoid the whole thing.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
I was going to bring up,
Go for it.
Your brother-in-law, James Westmoreland.
Yes.
Is he your brother-in-law? Are you married yet?
We're engaged.
Congratulations.
Not with James, by the way.
Not to We're engaged. Yeah, he's in the world endurance paddock, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's, I don't know how you say it. Viltas. Yep. Yeah. They've been on Yamahas the last couple of years. This year they've switched to Honda.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves it, enjoys it. And to be honest, I don't blame him, as in, I've been in that paddock. It's a great paddock to be
Mega
in. You know, like 2012 I did quite a lot, 2014 I did a bit. Actually at the end of last year spoke about doing some bits this year, which I've not pursued, but in the future 100% something that I want to do.
Very, very different to BSB.
Yeah, and to be honest, like when you speak to James about it, he's happy as Larry, you know, he loves it. So.
Have you had options with Yamaha?
Not with Yamaha. Like at the end of last year, there was something else that come up for this year in endurance, which would have been quite good. But I would love to do stuff with Yamaha and endurance for sure.
Did you do 24-hour or just?
I was when I was with Honda in 2014. I was just a reserve rider for Bol d'Or and Le Mans, and then in 2012 I raced Qatar, which we had podium at. I raced Oschersleben, and I raced Suzuka.
How long's Qatar? Was that a 12
That was an 8 hour. Yeah, just night race though. It was all night race.
That must have been cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was me, Keogh, and Michael Laverty. It was good. It was a TT Legends team that year, and the other boys were at the TT, I think it was. So
funny that they had a job to do.
They were busy that weekend, and we got drafted in, and it was actually that was my first experience of it. Yeah, loved it. Yeah, can't wait to get back and do some more. Yeah.
Do you fancy a go at endurance racing?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I thought you were going down the TT route.
No, I'm going to do that. I'll let Dom.
Definitely, yeah.
I know the answer. This is the good thing about Revisit. It's just a no from pair of them. So.
No, it is on the radar. Definitely. I've been over to Oschersleben twice just to help Spanner with a couple of mates doing it in the stock class. But yeah, definitely would give it a shot if I got the right opportunity with the right team. Yeah. I'd be a bit picky about who I went with because I wouldn't want any handlebar snapping in the middle of the night. But you know what, them bikes, they crash them, jump back on them and carry on, don't they?
You don't handlebar snapping in the middle of the day, though, mate.
So that probably makes me look at it. That makes me look at the job a bit different. But no, if it was the right opportunity, definitely.
Yeah.
Keen for a go at that.
It's like the best thing you'll ever do on a motorbike.
I can't imagine
just for the amount of time you get. You know?
I can't imagine what it's like in the middle of the night though. Like not much sleep, having to get your levers back on.
It's not like
cold.
It's different sort of pressure, isn't it?
Yeah.
As in you're not racing you're racing. You're not racing. You're racing other people, but you're not racing other people.
And anything happens.
Consistent laps. Just keep ticking. I remember the first year I did it, 2012. I think it was Russell Benny. He was talking to me about it, and I couldn't understand it. As in, when we were in Qatar, I was just wanting to go as fast as I could all the time, and he was just like, "Mate, this is not. You get to the finish and you're all right. You know, this job, you get to the finish with no issues, no crashes, no breakdowns, no pit stoppages. You're probably going to be somewhere near the front.
Yeah,
and that's the mentality of endurance racing.
Big team thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's I always found that's the nice thing about it is that relationship that like the question the patrons asked about your teammates, and you're thinking, he was a bit of a dick, and he was all right. It's different when you're in that environment because
you're working with each other.
Can't help but want to work with each other.
Yeah.
And you know, when someone comes in the bollocks, you just come on, you're all right. You know, you do everything you can to build them up again, don't you? And it's
completely different to the BSB job. Anyway.
Yeah, massively.
I tell you what, even going back to the BSB, I've got one final question for the pair of you. Who's your closest rival for this season coming?
Tom for me.
That's a given, to be fair.
No, it's not. You know what? I totally went over my head that, and actually, that people actually will not understand how good that'll be actually to watch.
You want to beat everyone on the grid, but there's something about having to beat this win. It's bragging rights over the family dinner table, isn't it?
I will use him as a speed bump. I am having this.
Whatever it takes.
2023, then, you and Tom have to do vlogs from the tractors with the CBs.
That'll be lively, I tell you.
Debriefing.
That'll be lively. It'd be, oh yeah.
Like Jason.
That's a tough one, isn't it? I wouldn't want to say one person in particular, because I can, and I'm not going to, because I think I'd give too much away, but I could pick a number of different people and say it's going to be him, but then I could go, no, he's got a weakness in this point, or it's going to be him, but no, he will. So,
do you think you're going to have any surprises then, if taking that side of it away?
Yeah, I think there always is. I think Tim could come out and win the first round. Not saying that's a surprise, but he's new to Superbike. Ryan Vickers could come out and win at the first round, as in. There's no set in stone, as in it has to be you or you or you. It could be anyone, as in, but the course of the year is different. As in the 11 rounds is tough, but it's there's a number of, put it this way, anyone on that grid's fast. You could pick someone that you're thinking, he's going to be at the back all year, and we know how fast all of them guys are on that grid. So someone that's got on there's a lot of people changing bikes this year, isn't there? Someone's going to have got on a new manufacturer bike. Turn up to the first round, he might be blasting everyone. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? There's always a sleeping giant in this BSB paddock, and that's Ducati, isn't it? And for me, it's a bit like I haven't seen it on paper yet or anything like that. Navarro was strong. I think they had minimum parts, and obviously Christian jumping back on the Ducati. You got Glenn on the Ducati. You got.
I think just touching on that, Christian's going to be good. As in,
that's what I mean.
I think when you turn the clock back to 21, he was the best Ducati, as in
he was winning
the best performing Ducati rider, and at the end of the year, whatever happened, he didn't continue with him, but he won races on it. It was I fought with him many weekends that year. So if he clicks back with it how he did before, he's going to be super strong.
Yeah. Because arguably that bike, when it was a couple of years ago, it was borderline unstoppable. Then, funny enough, then you came along 5 years ago.
2019, wasn't it?
In 2019, I remember talking to people that was like, if you finish fourth, you've had a good. Yeah. That's amazing. That's like a win. It's like what? Like as in
Ducati 1, 2, 3 every week.
And then since then, it's like. They're just whatever's happened, it's just not gone forwards or whatever.
Because that could be the wild card in that element. So all three of them, am I right in saying on the new Ducati, I don't think there's massive changes within the bike.
I'm not sure, to be honest, but all three. To be fair,
do you not keep a close eye?
I think they'll all be strong.
They're all riders that are capable of winning.
They are. Yeah, they've all won races before.
Riders that are going to be at the sharp end and they're going to be challenging.
Yeah. They've all won before, and.
There's a lot of rookies moving up this year. I think there's 7. Maybe not. Well, not. I think there's 7 of us, including Jack Kennedy, who's obviously not a rookie, but 7 lads moving into the class, which I think is going to definitely add a different aspect to it, isn't it? A lot of young lads as well, like Max Cook and obviously myself and Davey Todd from Superstock. Jack Scott. Who else we got? Brad Peary from Supersport. There's no end of us.
Yeah. But you lads are as we're speaking now. It's Wednesday, so. Saturday you'll be at Donington Park, so that's you're all out with that one. Happy days, and then straight to you're doing all the British testing on that side.
Saturday, Sunday at Donington, day off on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday at Silverstone.
Athletes, bloody athletes, aren't they? Bloody athletes, absolutely love it. But I tell you what, I think we're gonna have to. Bennett's about to Michael Burton from there is about to bray on the door and drag us out.
Are we using this area, or are we going somewhere else for the Bennett show?
It's our podcast. I'm literally. I love this. I'm not sure if I'm over the moon that Grace is here or not. It keeps me right on the leash. I like it. But so first of all, thank you to the patrons and our main sponsor, Global Moto. They have been with us, since Chrissy saw the deal out years ago and supported Chrissy on a personal level, and he's been kind enough to continue that with us, which is just absolutely awesome. And we've got Bennett's back on board, so they're helping us out personally, and not at the minute, because they've cut our interview short, so it's they can all get sorted on that side of things. But pull up a seat, get comfy. I'm about to try and read something here. This is not. Would you like to do it or? No, there you are. Right, brace yourself, prepare to laugh. New for 2023, Bennett's customers and bike social members can experience a live session from pit wall. whatever that is, in their pit perch and enjoy the new atmosphere in Bennett's pit box thanks to all their new super experiences. Just show up on the day and prove you're a customer member.
Take your insurance.
Do you just take your insurance? Do you take your bike and your
documents,
insurance?
Your
That's
policy.
There it is.
You're on the pit wall.
They are, dude. Get yourself on there, sunshine, straight on there. You don't need to pre-book, which is fantastic. And yeah, just please get in touch on the bennetts.co.uk/BSB. Yet again, thank you so much to all our patrons, and more importantly, thank you very much, lads.
Yeah, thanks for your time, guys.
No, thank you. Thanks for having us on.
I was about to say, hold on, what time is it now? It's 4:15, and you've got a whole evening planned. So briefly, what are you doing tonight then? What's the big thing with McCann's here?
Well, we've got the new, we've got both bikes in the new livery for the 23 season. We've done all the photo shooting this morning with the kit, suits, helmets, boots, all that sort of stuff. And then tonight, I believe we're gonna show the McCams people the bikes.
Yeah.
I think.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Do you know what McCann stands for? We just found out on the way down.
Motorcycle
accident management services.
They were so nervous when they said that one.
They were guiding each other, weren't they? You do the next.
This is where the teamwork comes into a podcast. Come on, is this right? Is this right?
You say it. You start to say it slowly. I hope that's right.
Absolutely classic. But lads, obviously, good luck for the season. Looking forward to watching your race, and we'll catch you up with you next time.
I just want to say as well, well done to you lot for keeping the job going. I think it's mega.
Thank you.
So
yeah, well,
thank you.
I want to thank everybody who supported us doing this, because we haven't had like an opportunity to sit down together as like our team and do a bit of a pod. And obviously, we've all stepped into this with a little bit of an unknown, well, massive unknown really, and the support of the fans has been incredible, but also like from the racing community as well.
Well, it's a best bike pod, isn't it? And
give them that 20 quid. Give them that 20 quid.
Or whatever you want to say, but
no, appreciate it. No. It's nice to hear, to be honest with you, because I think we all just want to make it work for
the main
right
man,
reasons and for Chrissy,
And there's always one more thing before we end the show. Obviously, HG Concepts have done the family another replica of Chrissy's lid, so it's and that's always going to be with us right next to the quick shift of coffee, where he was more coffee than man, Chrissy, to be honest. You know what I mean? If he wasn't having a throttle in his hand, it was a flat white. You know what I mean? It was straight up. But thank you for everyone.
Happy
and
days.
Thank you very much, lads.
Awesome.
And we'll
Cheers.
catch up with you soon, lads. Thank you so much. See you then.
Chasing the Racing. Powered by Colchester Kawasaki, part of the Global Moto Group. We supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.